of forensic investigations. These are challenges that you are finding in the municipalities because you get, for instance, I'll make an example of one municipality, or not even a municipality. You get the matters of VBS that have been investigated, but implementation to the investigation is not done by those municipalities. So these are some of the challenges that we get. At some stage, there are councils that had two parallel political leadership, and we have observed attempts and removal of mayors, speakers, and executive committee members. You know, these councils, they sit today, they decide to remove whoever they want to remove. There's generally poor oversight of councils and its committees. Councils from time to time, at some stage, they don't meet, their committees don't meet. That is why at the end of the day, you get the results that you are getting in councils. The number of municipal councils are not operating optimally as expected. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing as the department, but we are not giving up. We said to ourselves, that is why in our intervention as a rapid response team, we are moving together with the Premier. The Premier even said to us that it's important that we have the local government Thursdays, so that on Thursdays we know as the rapid response team that we go to different municipalities so that we can be able to assist those municipalities. So Chair, if you allow me, can I give the HOD to do the rest of the presentation? But like you said, Chair, he must do it like yesterday, talk to the presentation, not go through everything in the presentation. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Ken. The HOD or anyone else?
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon to you, to the Premier, to the MECs, and to the members of the NCOP, and members of the different municipal councils that are here, and to colleagues. I am not going to touch the areas that the MEC has already spoken to. I will immediately go to speak about the delivery process, which we were requested to speak on. I wish to indicate that it is given that with the state of the municipalities that has been presented from yesterday and today, the service process become inevitable. And we have started a process of making sure that we deal with all the issues that have been raised. The Office of the Premier, together with the department, has worked on a system in which we record all the memorandums that we are receiving and the responses that we are giving, and we are able to say that in terms of this memorandum, these are the issues that have been raised, and these are the issues that have been attended to, and these are the issues that have been raised. When we look at the, here we're looking at the entire province since 2018, 2019 we received, there have been about 107 communities covering all the areas of the province, and we also are showing the quarter that is April to and that what were the main issues that were raised in this community process. There were issues, allegations of corruption and maladministration, particularly regarding the projects that would be on the IDPs of municipalities, but those projects not being executed, though they had been funded, and there were also about interference of councillors in terms of who should be appointed in those projects, and also the issues of outsourcing appointments of suppliers, where councillors, these were just allegations where councillors have interest. And these kind of allegations, there were about 74 of them in all the memorandums that we have had. And the next issue is water. And I think the NCOP is much aware of this problem of water in the province. The problem of water in the province is twofold. One is that we are a water scarce province. Two is that we are not using this resource. We are not distributing it optimally, and we are not managing it optimally. The little that we have, we are not able to make sure that it reaches all the communities in the province. And now and again, there would be problems regarding water. One of the main problems would be that the issues of maintenance, where water is, we will be told that water has been deliberately cut off. This is to, or is a suspicion that this sabotage to water projects or to the water supply system is caused by entrepreneurs who would want then to get into this business of tankering, and they would then deliberately block water supply infrastructure. And these problems, as we can see on your presentation, it applies to almost every area in our province. The other issues that have been raised are the issues of health, issues of clinics and so forth, but issues of refuse removal and sanitation are the main common issues that are raised in our memoranda, issues of roads. And here we are showing the analysis of the complaints that have been received and which sector where the complaints were about. And I think it will interest the NCOP that when our people protest, they don't really care whether this is a national competency, whether it's a provincial competency or a municipal competency. They go and close the streets, and then there would be no service delivery that is that's taking place, and there would be, in some instances, regrettably so, there would be some damage to property. The recent protests that we have seen this current year, the protests in the Sobotara, Motsere, Madibeng, Naledi, Tswaing, Matosana, and Khetleng. And the issues in almost all the protests remain the same. The top one being service delivery, being the issues of water and sanitation, being the issues of related to human settlements and other issues. And these are the issues wherein the task team that the MEC has alluded to is attending now and again when we have this kind of protests. And when we come to municipal and provincial service delivery, we as a province, we are intervening everywhere where there's a problem, where we are experiencing problems of service delivery. But as a department of COCTA, we intervening in areas. I'll talk here about the expenditure in terms of MIG, where we assist or we support municipalities to ensure that they spend their MIG. And we can see here on this table the amount that had been allocated to the province for MIG projects over the past 4 years and what the expenditure was. So the expenditure in terms of MIG are expected to address mainly the very issues which give rise to these protests. I must indicate that we have had challenges where MIG, some of the municipalities are not able to spend on their MIG, and this MIG has to be relocated to other municipalities. And for this current financial year, we are quite worried because the impact of COVID in terms of planning for the MIG projects. But if I may come to the issue of water and MIG, I think we all know that water is a national competency, and the grants for water is managed by the Department of DWS. And the MIG does not fund water, except for those municipalities that are Water Services Authority, but it can only be a very small percent of MIG that can go to water projects. So most of the water projects, water and sanitation projects are not funded from MIG, but they are funded directly by either WISIC or other programs within MIG. But I must indicate that because of COVID, we allowed municipalities to allocate not more than 10% for water from the MIG. So we have actually increased the kitty in terms of water services that must go to water from the MIG program. And one of the municipalities that took advantage of that provision is this municipality. They prioritized some of their projects from the MIG funding to fund some of their water projects. Here we are just indicating some of the interventions that are funded, and we are showing the picture across the province that across the province we have about 318 projects divided into social infrastructure, road and stormwater, water and sanitation, and economic infrastructure. And so the total investment is about 1.5 billion in terms of the projects as of 2018, and in terms of 2019, 2020, the total amount that we have invested into our infrastructure, municipal infrastructure, is 1.2 billion. So there's a lot of investment that goes into our infrastructure. The problem is the output, that as much as we invest so much money, the quality of the projects or the output is not satisfactory. Our roads are not durable. We also invest in some very expensive infrastructure, and then we don't set aside money or budget for operation and maintenance of infrastructure. So we are basically in a cycle of we are wasting community funds, because if we, for an example, this morning we went around to look at the money that has been spent to create the infrastructure, water and sanitation infrastructure, but there is no operations and maintenance, and the infrastructure is not functional. It means that the money that was spent on this infrastructure has gone to waste. And these are some of the engagements that we have with the municipalities again and again, and we don't really get any joy in terms of the turnaround. We are, however, working with MISA to assist municipalities to come up with maintenance plans of the infrastructure that they are building, and also to assist them with the tariff infrastructure, because one of the weaknesses that we should address, Honorable Premier and members, is that municipalities are not recovering anything out of this infrastructure. The water infrastructure that they are building, they are not getting anything back from the communities. So they won't get the money for operation and maintenance if they don't charge people, including business. The frustration that we have discussed with the municipalities, DWS has taken up with municipalities, that big businesses are pumping a lot of waste in our water streams, and yet they are not paying for the waste that they are creating and ultimately finding its way into our water stream to pollute. So these are some of the challenges that I just want to highlight, Chairperson, without taking much of your time. I'm not going to go into this slide because it's about something that we want to avoid as a province. The province has lost a lot of money through water tankering. However, we were forced to come back to it during COVID. And these are some of the projects that we are funding through Provincial Infrastructure Grant. Now, I want to just to clarify members, particularly members of the provincial legislature, that we do not have specific budget for water, but we have PIG that we can assist municipalities to fund some of their projects. But we only go into a municipalities if the municipalities have provided us with business plans and said, this is a business plan, we have this project, but there is a shortfall. So we use the PIG to cover the shortfalls that the municipalities would have had. We are not able to assist municipalities with operations and maintenance, but we do assist those that have got shortfalls in terms of the water and sanitation projects to be able to complete those projects so that you don't have a project that will have to run then stop because there are no funding. But however, this National Treasury raised a flag last year, the previous financial year, that we are not even supposed to be spending our money here on water and sanitation because it is not our competence as a province. So we are not sure if we are going to have this fund going forward. But these are some of the projects that we are having to support municipalities. Unfortunately, when you look at this number of projects, there is none here from Madibeng. It covers all the other 12 municipalities, but we don't have any project that is running in Madibeng. We have received a request from Madibeng that we should assist them to fund a project from Mututlung to divert the sewer. I think that is they are referring to the sewer where we're coming from now. So we will be considering that for the next financial year. And these are the PWP allocations. I'm not going to talk about that. We are also supporting municipalities in terms of fire and emergency services, and we have indicated here the amount of support that we have given to the listed municipalities. We still believe that this is also underfunded from fire and emergency services. It's also one of the municipal programs that are underfunded by municipalities. It doesn't give us any joy because what we also do here, honorable members, is that we actually assist in buying them fire engines and other emergency vehicles. However, when we go around to inspect, we find that some of those vehicles are standing on bricks because they needed a service and the municipality did not make provision for their services and so on. So it is also an area where we are trying to build support to make sure that municipalities do budget for operations and maintenance that is sufficient to cover all areas that needs operations and maintenance in the municipalities. In some of the municipalities, you find that these vehicles are not operating simply because they did not renew their licenses. We also are giving support in terms of expenditure management. I will not go into that, and also in terms of the grant management, and we have prioritized the municipalities that have been indicated here in terms of having to improve their performance in terms of spending their grants, as the reports that we have indicate that they had to request some rollovers in the previous year. So they are not really doing well in terms of spending their grants, and this is the area where ourselves and MISA are assisting them to make sure that they spend their funds. When it comes to Section 139 of the Constitution, the intervention in municipalities, I will also, Chair, not really dwell much on this, as It has already been spoken to yesterday and previously. I must just indicate that there are a number of municipalities that we had placed on under Section 139 previously, and one of them was Mafikeng. These are some of the issues that were pertaining to Mafikeng, where there was an issue of VBS that was causing a lot of problems within the municipality, that it affected governance and oversight. And there was also issues of finances, where the municipality lost a yellow fleet, and there were also issues of service delivery. However, I must indicate that most of the reasons of the why we had to intervene under Section 139 are almost similar, in that they always speak of instability in council, the non-functioning of our councils, where there are divisions in councils and so on, and also where there are other issues like your financial issues and service delivery issues. Wherever there are problems in municipalities, the service delivery gets affected. So these are some of the reasons why we had to intervene in municipalities. And we have learned, as was the debate yesterday, that it's not always preferable that we Section 139. And we have also learned that municipalities are now have taken a posture to oppose and even take the provincial government to court in terms if there are interventions. And these are some of the lessons that we are incorporating into what we have learned and what we are going to take forward. Chair, these are the 8 municipalities that we intervened from September 2018, and these interventions have ended, and the reports from the intervention have been presented to the department and have been presented to EXCO, and they will now be serving in the various municipal councils. There were 14 of these municipalities, and out of the 14, one was actually Section 139(1)(c), where the municipality was dissolved. And currently we have put 4 municipalities under intervention. This being this one where we are in Madibeng, and there is administrator and the team here. They assumed their duty on in September, the 1st of September. There is an administrator in JB Max local municipality. Also there, the administrator assumed duties in September. We also placed Swaying under Section 139(1)(b). However, the municipality took the provincial government to court. They interdicted the provincial government, and the intervention has not yet started, but will be going to court sometime in November to go and deal with substantive issues of this particular case. In Ramotsirumwilwa, also we have appointed an administrator. The municipality also is rejecting the intervention. They attempted to interdict the provincial government, but they lost that case. At the moment, they are blocking, they are preventing the administrator to come into the municipality. The MEC has tried on a number of occasions to gain entry to the municipality, but the now speaker and other people are making sure that there is no access for the provincial government into the municipality. And Chair, as I have indicated, this matter we will be seeking interim court order to make sure that the team is able to gain access. We also had a situation in Madibeng, but this issue of Madibeng fell off in October. The case was supposed to have taken place on the 8th of October, but the issue has since been withdrawn. And in Kakisano Molopo, we still are, there will be the appeal, because this is the first municipality that took the provincial government to court. And the provincial government then requested to appeal the matter. The appeal was granted, and the appeal court will be sitting on the 13th November 2020 to hear the side of the provincial government. And these are the issues around interventions. Chairperson, I just wish to say that towards a conclusion, I want to say that what we are witnessing in the province is that there is a paralysis so far as local government is concerned. The issues have been hotly debated yesterday and previously. And because of this collapse and paralysis, there is a trust deficit between our people and their municipalities, and that is characterized by the number of sporadic protests that we are seeing as municipalities, from where we are sitting as government. And our duty as a provincial government and as a provincial department, it is to ensure that we build a municipality that is that will carry out its duties as per the Constitution, that will provide sound political leadership to our communities, to our community structures, that will make sure that there is a strong organizational capacity in terms of governance issues, in terms of the municipalities having proper policies and plans in place. We cannot go on saying that there are no operation and maintenance plans. We want a leadership that will make sure that there are maintenance and operation plans and they are being implemented. We want to ensure that the municipality has got competent and dedicated managers, technical positions are filled, and there are employees that are committed, and also ensuring that there are systems in place, there's a proper financial management in place. If we can achieve this, is what we are trying to achieve, and I'm very sure that oversights like this will assist us as a provincial department and as municipalities and as a province as a whole, to make sure that we've got better municipalities that are better placed to serve our people. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Welcome to the report. Much appreciated for the report. We want to ask, before we allow members from the NCOP, members from the legislature, if there is a consultant chance to engage with it, is the department going to add anything before we start the discussions? Any addition from the department, maybe from is the chief director and the CFO here of the department?
Yes, so if there's anything like you're saying, they can add share through you.
In future, the HOD is well informed. In future, make sure you move with most of the senior management so that where there is problems, it doesn't really arise without any delays. Last year, we did emphasize the similar issue that we want people outside. We handing over to NCOP to start. Yes, we hear from Honorable First.
Honorable Chair, it is really very unfair of the department to expect us to come in and receive a report of this magnitude, and to come and participate on a report such as this, especially where we have all the municipalities in Northwest in a state of dilapidation and collapse. This is absolutely, we should have had it at least before the weekend, so that we could have studied these reports and have questions ready for them to ask on this. At this stage, we as the NCOP members are really concerned. We are concerned of municipalities that receives infrastructure, that receives MEF grants, that receives money for development. And within a few years, that municipality, the day that that contract stopped and that project was to hand over to the municipality, was the last work done to that municipality. Then they expect Department of Water and Sanitation to maintain it for them. They do not do any maintenance. They do not look after a street light, not a stop street, not a street surface, not a toilet or sewage or water purification or nothing. All the money is just flowing out and nothing comes from nothing in these municipalities. We want answers on the whys and the hows and what happened. That deterioration in 26 years brought us now to a state that we have to rebuild towns. That people cannot do life in these towns because of the absolute constant no service delivery of municipalities being closed for 5 weeks, not removing solid waste, sewage running all over the streets, people sitting without water. And it's not in a area, it's in all the areas. If you go to Ratlow and you see that people have to dig into dry river beds to get seepage water, to let 4-year-old children being lowered down into those holes to with a small yanabaki, dish out some brown water at the bottom of these river beds, just to cook pap. They don't even have water to wash. Ward 5 in Ratlow is standing without water for months now. Nakamudiri, until now, they were informed about this. Until now, they haven't responded. What must councillors do? What must municipalities do if the water authority and the water services provider cannot look after the water? Why can the municipality not look after the purification of the water that they supply to people? Everywhere, in every municipality, you will hear that people get sick, that people is not well, that even in Sunnyshof, dogs died of cholera. So if the dogs are dying of cholera, what is happening to all the rest of the water? What is happening to our environments, our rivers, where we are allowed, municipalities are allowed to pump out all their junk into the rivers, into areas where there's wetlands and protection areas. If I just go to Barberspun and I see what is happening there, then how must we continue to live a life in South Africa when our governance bodies, our local government is destroying our environments and they're making life impossible? They might making life so impossible that you cannot even get a driver's license. You cannot register your vehicles. If you want to go and register your vehicles, you are forced to pay everything in cash because the cash never reaches the province. You get farmers that has to go in to pay 80,000 rand in cash to a municipality that does not bank the money before the next afternoon, before they can go out to bank money, or once a week. We are at this current stage in an area, as the Premier yesterday said, where we must identify the root causes and we must go in there and we must be strict with municipalities and with MMs, with CFOs, with councils and with the administration of being incompetent to run municipalities as they should. This cannot continue at this current stage. As it is at the moment, we are subject to the worst life ever, and there is absolute no life in the streets. If you just go to Madibeng and you see what's happening here, and you see plants that has been unattended for so many years, and nothing is being done. They're waiting for somebody else to come and do the work while they receive money to do the work. Thank you. Sorry, Chair. I'm just upset because really we cannot, even the report is not enough. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Honourable Chair, if someone said that they were shocked what we saw this morning, then obviously that person hasn't been on ground level in the municipal areas. Because what is currently happening in this municipality is happening all over the Northwest Province with regards to water irrigation plants, etc., that are dysfunctional and not working at all. We were informed this morning that millions of rands were spent to put pumps into the different stations, and then there wasn't any security to see to it that vandalism doesn't take place. That's unacceptable. We are basically throwing money in the water, and at the moment we do not have funds to waste. Chair, with regards to the presentation, I support the fact that we would have appreciated if we were supplied with the presentation beforehand. Something in the presentation is a matter of concern, and that's the water tankers that has been availed and funds being availed for that, because there's already allegations of corruption with regards to the water tankers as well. Tankers allegedly being paid for by local government as well as the different municipalities with COVID funds, and there's basically double billing that's taking place, or that's allegedly taking place. So I'd appreciate it if you could maybe get a report on the contractors as well as the trucks that were used in the different municipalities, funds being availed by the local government as well as the municipalities to get to the root and the bottom of this. Chair, it's also clear in the report that we do have a problem with regards to the fire services in the province. As you well know, I mean, it was in the news and we are all affected by this, the veld fires that rage in the Free State province as well as the Northwest province, and fire brigades not being able to provide the necessary assistance to the surrounding areas to combat these fires. So I'm officially requesting that local government also look into the matter to avail funds from disaster in collaboration with agriculture to more people's lives are not affected negatively as a result of this. To the administrator, the administrators that's appointed and municipalities that's being placed under Section 139, it's evident that putting a municipality under administration, it's not a financial officer to oversee the workings of a municipality. And although it is written in the report that the administrators will be supplying reports to council, I think it's of the utmost importance that the NCOP be provided on performance reports on these administrators in the different municipalities on a quarterly basis to see if we are being appointed to look after being deployed to another municipality and the municipality being worse off than before. So also if we could have that noted to get reports on a quarterly basis, performance reports on the duties and
I'd like to take this opportunity to appreciate Honourable Premier for being here from yesterday, part and parcel of joining us, making sure that he's observing the problems facing by our people. Many of the other people who were supposed to be here have not arrived. Others are held up somewhere, and all of us have issues, but this is an important week where we have to make sure we take services to the people. We are going to hand over to, and we want to appreciate for the Premier to prioritize this week, work us in making sure that we observe and monitor to ensure that the people get what they deserve. So thank you, Premier, for being with us and making sure your team must pull their hands, they have to pull up their socks for you. You on your side, we are in Paris, you are everywhere. I see it's what he said.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. Let me take this opportunity to greet the Honorable MEC, Honorable Premier, and all my colleagues, mayors, executive mayors that are here, and everybody. Chairperson, when the HOD presented, I don't know what slide it is, he mentioned that the quality of the project that they are doing, they don't get an output. I just want to check with the HOD, is it value for money, good value for money? And then to add on my Honorable Bitoi, on the issue of the administrators, other municipalities, the administrator wrote the report. I just want to check with the department MEC, did you evaluate the report? Go to the municipality, they go to worsen the situation there. So we really ask you to make sure that you evaluate each and every municipality. The vetting was asked by Honorable Ditoy to use the project, to do the project. When you look at the internal roads all over the province, the roads are bad. But we are spending a lot of money, whereas there are senior managers in the municipality. See, you are saying HOD when he reports, he mentioned that other municipalities are accepting the administrators, other are rejecting the provincial government.
Also appreciate all people of legislation for appearance, for being here, the churches, church shopper, from the opposition parties, all of them that are here, also staff from the parliament, staff from the legislature. Apologies, lack of the issues not arising from the opposition, but I will solve it in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I really don't know where to start because there are a lot of issues that I think has got to be flagged and have got to be dealt with. A strategy, a plan, a turnaround way. I'm missing. And as an overarching point, I'm going to propose what is it that we can do to turn around this situation. I think all ailing and suffering organizations sit down and there is a way, an approach to turn the situation around. And this is what I'm missing in the province, to really look at that. How do we turn this situation around? Because clearly and quite acceptably, this situation is unacceptable. We cannot be a province that is in such a crisis, and there is no way that we extricate our province from this crisis. This is an overarching point that I want to make, to say there is a need for us to turn things around. Now, Chair, listening to the inputs by fellow members of Parliament, I unfortunately don't necessarily share everything that they say, because one of the issues that comes up strong is that for 25 years or 26 years, everything has collapsed. And there is nothing that happened over this period. I can tell you here now, and a lot of people that I know sitting in this room will vindicate what I'm saying, that there were municipalities in this province which were receiving VUNA awards. VUNA awards were the awards issued by the department, by then DPLG, for the best performing municipalities in the province and at national level in respect of service delivery. And we had such municipalities coming from this province, which means that the system was functioning. We had municipalities that were winning the Govern Beggy Awards on housing, and none of these municipalities would win these awards if they didn't have unqualified reports, opinions. The first condition to qualify for that competition, you had to have an unqualified opinion. And some of these municipalities were coming from this province. You had a competition called the Cleanest Competition Awards, and because of environmental projects of these municipalities, they were winning these awards even at national level, the PMR Awards, the Nelson Mandela Award, you can mention them. My message is that there is a point when things collapsed, and we must accept that, because if you ask an ordinary African people in this province, would tell you that since the advent of our new democratic district, the specific role of the department in terms of Section 154, and that when the situation is worse, when a municipality cannot fulfill its executive obligations under the Constitution, you can invoke Section 139. It's clear in terms of the Constitution. What I miss in this submission is how the department uses 154 to support municipalities to strengthen their capacity and to monitor them in order to fulfill their executive, to perform their functions and fulfill their executive obligations. I miss that. I miss a situation where the department says, in the light of all these problems afflicting municipalities, whether it's service delivery, it's governance, it's leadership, it's management, it's administration, it's infrastructure, it's finance, whatever problems, this is what we do to turn things around. I hear the MEC says, and the Premier said that we meet in these municipalities every week, and this is what we are going to do to ensure that we pay more attention to the work of this municipality, and we support, we strengthen their capacity and so on. But is this part of the turnaround? My view is that I think, my honest view, the necessary capacity, skills, and competencies who can help our province to turn its fortunes around, and to also ensure that they use peer review mechanisms and copy examples and models in other provinces on how to improve the performance of the municipalities, on how to support them, to strengthen their capacities that the province has to the municipalities. For me, Chair, as an overarching point, I do not want to really go into the details about this and that, this and that. Where I am, is that I'm propelled by a burning desire to turn the situation of our province around. Honestly, I think this province has got the capacity to do that. This province has got the necessary human capital. It has people who has the knowledge, the know-how, the experience to do that. And all of these people, whether they are in diaspora or wherever they are, they need to be brought back to their province to help our municipalities, to help the department. Because my view is that the department is not structured in such a way the obligation of supporting municipalities. Maybe we should look at that, position the department in terms of human resource, in terms of its structure, in terms of its budget, to enable it to perform and exercise that function. Maybe part of that is to look at that. How do we position the department? How we structure it in order for...
Okay, we are fortunate that the problems we have here. So take your time to address the problems. And we cannot, after you have talked, these things are not implemented and these things are not followed up. The same way with the legislature. When
these municipalities have got problems of liquidity. They cannot finance their own activities. They cannot pay debtors. They owe people, a lot of people, a lot of money. Whether it is your water utilities, it is your electricity utility, NCOP, they owe billions. NCOP threatens a lot of municipalities with cutting off electricity because these municipalities owe NCOP. They cannot collect. Their income is far less than their expenditure. And they know, or the department can help them to identify areas of cost cutting. The first time I heard about this word was from Prof. He said at that time, Prof said, as a Director General of the Prof, he said, we must tighten the belt. I said, what the hell is the belt in government? So you must tighten the belt. There must be cost-cutting measures, and this is what we are going to do, and we were doing that. The departments, these municipalities have got to do that, to cut costs in order to ensure that their financial position is improved. These municipalities spend 90% or so of their budgets on operational expenditure. Little is left on capital projects. And therefore there is no service delivery, and we get surprised when these municipalities cannot deliver services to the people. Some of these municipalities, 4 or 5 of them, they have invested 300 million rands in the VBS, what is called the mutual bank, when they were not supposed to do that, and Madibeng is one of these municipalities. 300 million rands that could make a difference, that could go and fix the infrastructure where we're coming from, that can buy the valves, that can protect and secure the properties of the municipality. It was invested elsewhere. And today, this is history, that all the money is gone. It cannot be recovered. But throughout all these municipalities, what is bad, it is that there are no consequence management. I always try to analogize in football because I like football. The president of Sundown says 3 weeks ago, and this that he says is profound. He says, I apologize and I take responsibility because my team, Sundowns, which is a professional team, has fielded a player in the final against Celtics when they were not supposed to do that. I'm the president of this organization, of this soccer team. I take full responsibility. I'm not the one who selected the team. I'm not the one who decided who to play. But in the final analysis, I'm responsible because the buck stops with me. How many of us here as politicians who, when our own municipalities are going down the drain, when we can see in our eyes our municipalities are collapsing, we've all this that we're talking about, how many of us are taking responsibility and say to do that? And this municipality that I'm the head, I'm the political head to, is collapsing, and I'm taking responsibility for that because the buck stops with me. And I'm raising this example with Mr. Patrice Mutse because it is high time that, because for me that is an elephant except and say it has happened whilst I was the head of that institution and I take responsibility for that. It's fine, Chair. I don't want to go to all of these things. There are too many, but it's fine. All that I'm saying is that the bottom line for me, the bottom line is that the province need to retreat, go back, sit down, and say how do we chart a way forward for the future of the Northwest, because one municipality that is collapsing has got profound negative implications for the rest of us. It affects all of us. And part of what maybe the province can do is to look at the history of intervention in the Northwest, because this is what we're talking about. To my recollection, Chair, the first municipality to be dissolved under Section 139C in the Northwest, there was no intervention in the Northwest in terms of 139. 139 started to escalate after 2009. Maybe we should then learn from that experience what went wrong, what happened, and how we can turn the situation around, how we can improve it. And if we say that this is not the solution, what is the solution? If it is 154, how do we structure and manage our affairs and position ourselves in such a way that we are able and capacitated to perform 154? And at the end of the day, it must yield the results, because if these results are yielded in KZN, a province that was ravaged by war, and all the capacity to find a solution to the problems that are facing us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Zadoro. I am glad you spoke your mind, and we appreciate your advice. And the rest of the speakers that will follow. I'm also going to welcome the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee in the province, Honorable Mutswana. Thank you for joining us. I know you had other commitments because of your double duty to be everywhere. start with the chair of chair, and then followed by the chair of scorecard, and then the rest will follow. Whoever wants to speak from the members first. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chair. Because I'm also the leader of the delegation of NWPA. Maybe my issue should start on the issue of engaging this matter from the legislative perspective. Thanks. No, yeah, no thanks. And now I really wanted to mean I want to engage it from the legislative perspective. So when we look into Chapter 7 of the Constitution, particularly Section 154, you will agree that the problems of the municipalities is not the problem of the municipalities alone, and it is the problem of all of other departments, and including the legislature or the areas that are making law like parliaments. Because Section 154 says the national government, provincial governments, by legislative, the law says, I want to quote it in verbatim so that we can engage it. National government and provincial governments, by legislative and other measures, must support and strengthen the capacity of municipalities to manage their own affairs, to exercise their powers, and to perform their functions. Now, the history of the Northwest Provincial Legislature, if maybe my mind serves me well, would not have more than 16 or 17 pieces of the legislation promulgated at our level. Because this law says, even by form of the law. But two, we have not received any request from the Coxter Department to legislate any piece of law at the legislature in supporting any of their work on and around the municipalities. Now, no one can declare therefore that all the support has been given to the municipalities. It's not true. It will be fallacy. My submission then becomes that not much has been done to add positive impetus to the efforts of the municipalities to work towards the realization of the objects of the local government. Now, what does it mean then? It means a need to have a well-coordinated form of intervention. If local government would continue with these efforts in silos, it will not work. But let me explain further what is also this is about. The local government has what we call in IDP. I've always argued that it's not IDP, it's MDP, it's not integrated. The plan of the municipality is integrated with which other department? Now that is why there is the intergovernmental relations, the intergovernmental fiscal relations as driven by the FFC. I would not go into there. That even the president have sought to take this to some form of conclusion in the format of a district model. Maybe that should be the perspective from which. That is why if we have a local municipality, when it does its plans, as expected by IGR, IG, intergovernmental fiscal framework relations, we'd have the municipality that the times Honorable Dodofi talks about. There were the departments within particular local municipalities were coordinated by the municipality. And their plans as individual departments formed part of the integrated development plan. Now, Plans of municipalities in isolation, they have proven not to be enough. But that is another matter for another day. But Chair, I wanted to explain this meaning in the understanding of what Honorable Dodofi also raised, that practical measures must then be put in place to intervene. Let me explain something secondly. When you look at the mandate of the department on the municipality, it has no provision that the department must want to resolve political instability. So that is why when they tell us about the political instability, the question one is it intra or inter? Because problems within one political party or even amongst parties were anticipated and the law in place have sought to respond to it. We must know, if the department wants to achieve whatever that they want, it will be not in the circumstances chosen by the municipality. But the department must not make attempts to descend on the political floor. The central line, that is a point of convergence or divergence, is what is prescribed by the law. Now, the report of the department would have been better if it was telling us on the work in terms of the law and to which extent, because they do not have a magic formula that characterizes what is a political deficiency. In the democratic constitutionalism, we expect that. There is nothing wrong. The defining characteristical features that compound challenges faced by the municipalities are permanent. Managers will come and go. They won't do anything about how political contestation happens. It's not their area. Now, maybe when we say poor leadership is another element, because you see, we will want to have a proper characterization of what happened to be the problems there. There are two sets of leadership, political and administration. Now, when you can take a job description of any manager in any municipality, look into that job description. It talks nothing about key deliverables of that municipality. Maybe it's another issue for another time on the matter of planning. But you can have all this human capital. It will not translate into delivering your plans until everyone's key performance. And even if you have these committees they want to establish for purposes of discipline, you would still find it very difficult if you don't want to get that in order. Look, Chair, for whatever reason, let me agree that there are many problems that are also not by virtue of those who are at that municipality, but by virtue of the law. Look at it. The amendments to National Health Act have made municipalities at the level of district responsible for health inspectorate. There are many tuck shops here, and so no one does anything about it. Now, the laws, many pieces of legislation have devolved some form of responsibilities from different, but it was not followed with the budget. I'm not entering into that space. My view where I'm seated is that no matter difficulty on budget or budgetary constraints, all the municipalities still get budget fairly appropriated to them without not necessarily being reduced because of any reason. One would then agree with this thing of economies of scale that we would want to do more with less cost but with increased results. That will never, the issue at all material time that budget is not true. But let me deal with this so that we should request the department. What is happening here is not necessarily poor leadership. There is a dereliction of duty 1. 2, there is a withholding of service. Why am I saying so? Because all pieces of laws, whether it is a code of conduct in terms of Schedule 1 or 2, whether it is a Municipal Systems Act, whether handbook for municipal councillors, whether Structures Act, that creates a regulatory faculty. All this have already been prescribed. The issue is making them finding expression because they were meant to help service delivery. Section 139 recently is being used even as an alternative to disciplinary process. Chair, the submission that I can make quickly, because others will be just a repetition, is that we must request the department to reprioritize the areas on which they will provide strategic and operational support to the municipality, especially those that were highlighted by the AG. Amongst them, and all this deterioration is on what I spoke to yesterday, real revenue.
Chairperson, you can, don't rush, take your time and address it, as I've said to the previous speaker.
Yes.
But make sure you address the issues and challenges you want to address.
Yes.
Even if you are going to take the whole group, we are going to address these issues and make sure local government gets the much needed attention. It was never came from us to sit and discuss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. The key areas is on real. Now the department must tell us what we want them to do is not only to reprioritize them, but to organize, to coordinate and facilitate the support program, particularly on asset management, starting first and foremost with records, because records are just the first step of accounting for purposes of accounting modalities. On records management, the department, by all virtues, whether by virtue of bringing legislation so that we can have a single, seamless system of records management that secures information that we can use for knowledge management and even decision making and whatever, we need to agree. The department must come with a plan on and around that area. But they must develop a plan also for the whole of, in the context of the AG, for the response to all these key concerns of the AG, without attempt to resolving all of them at once. Key, they must put them in order of priorities. The department must try to establish the arrangement where we would have an integrated form of planning at the local municipalities, where we'd have plans for Madibeng. That includes the plans of all of other departments, so that we can call them integrated, and so on, in the context of the IGR, IGFR, and those matters. But the issue about it is that we want to arrange some form of the intervention at the level of the legislation that may even enable the department to have proper things done, even for purposes of Section 139. Because we all agree, administrators that we have had deployed to the municipalities have not, all of them, met the inherent requirements for them to occupy that position, and we have told this department. And they agreed and went on do something wrong again. They are like small children. You talk to them now, they just continue as if they have not had anything. They are just like the same municipalities that must be helped to be dealt with. But Chair, at the center of our engagement the other time with the department, other than the issue of integration, collaboration, that they must mobilize capacities and resources available at national, province, and amongst all other departments, even utilizing the institutions supporting democracy. We agreed on the issue of a need for legislation. But we also engaged them on the issue of COVID-19. We have said we are requesting that these responses from the department on and around COVID, they have not done that. They must make sure it is permanentized, because we do not expect scenario where we are going to have a quick withdrawal of particular services when COVID-19 is declared over. We'll fight with the people. But we have said they must also institutionalize the capacity to respond to the challenges of COVID. All of them were excited to have temporary and quick things done there. That did not necessarily help anyone. I think those should be the issues that I want to deal with. On your page 42, where you deal with Ramutsiri, maybe you must correct today there and add a few things so that we must just not see it's a cut and paste report. That is why it does not tell us much about, because it's a cut and paste from last time. Before you came there, Honorable Acting MEC. Page 42. They say today, 10 September. Today is not 10 September. But Chair must also tell you that we have had a serious problem with the HOD of the department. He has always been absent, having multiple excuses all the time when he must engage thoroughly with our responsibility and their responsibility at the level of the department, which might be another issue. So, we don't want you to solve the political problems there. We want you to tell us what the law is saying. It is your role, to which extent you have solved that problem, and leave the politics as they are. You are not going to resolve them. No one has a magic formula of solving our problem. The art of it all is to have a central line drawn. The responsibility of leadership is to identify dominating contradictions at a particular time in any situation at a given time. But he must then draw the central line to resolve them. We are requesting the department to give us a central line in the context of legislation. Squad Totala, don't tell us about any other things on the sides. Thanks.
Thank you. You are not many, so don't stress yourselves. You are only about. So take your time. We will request, I think the Premier just went outside to join the party, join us.
No, thanks, Chair.
HOD, can you make sure your communication section is up to date? Make sure that the basics of the communication, even live streaming and stuff, basic information is to the public.
No, thanks, Chair. I think the good thing from the department is that they managed to diagnose a problem, but failed to come with a remedy to the problem that they diagnosed, or maybe indicate that these are the problems that are happening. It's like going to a doctor, Chair, and the doctor diagnoses you and just leave you without giving you a medication. You'll end up dying. That's what it's happening. You diagnose a problem, but you don't come with a solution to that problem. And I'm taking it from what members raised, that the report lack a plan to resolve all the problems identified. The report lack a turnaround strategy on all the problems that have been identified. And I think, Chair, it's a public knowledge that the Auditor General has released the audit outcome, and this province have been listed as number 9 on the audit outcome, meaning we are the last from all the provinces on performance across municipalities. And I think if you look on the audit outcome, it will paint red in this province. And the indication is that out of the 22 municipalities, and I think that's where the department was supposed to use their yardstick to make sure that they identify problematic municipalities if they want to take a route of either Section 154 or 139. Out of 22 municipalities, 5 of them failed to submit their annual financial statement in line with MFMA, meaning denying Auditor General to audit the finances and to make sure that the public knows about the audit outcome or finances of the public to the public. And amongst those municipalities, Chair, which I think is a public knowledge, Ngaka Mudiri Mulema is one of them, Greater Taung, Bujanala, Naledi, and Mamusa. Now you look on your intervention of Section 139, you lack all the 5 municipalities from the 139. Now you ask yourself a question. Why are they left out? What criteria was used? But not only that, Chair, on top of not submitting their annual financial statement, 2 amongst the 5, Ngaka Mudiri Mulema, Rustenburg, are 3 contributors to the annual irregular expenditure. And it's a public knowledge. You can go to Auditor General report, it's on public. They are on top 3 national contributing on irregular expenditure. Why are they left out when you dip to push a level of intervention? Not only that, Chair, from the 2 municipalities, 2 of them are paying the creditors, ESCOM, as an example, after 312 days, meaning more than 10 months. Soon maybe electricity will be cut. Why are you leaving them? What criteria was used? And I'm starting with that area, Chair, and indicating the importance of applying fairness and making sure that you dip to problematic municipalities to make sure that you assist the community of those municipalities. It's not enough. 9 out of 22 received disclaimers, 8 qualified, with 1 adverse. Ngaka Mudiri Mulema, adverse. On top of adverse, that municipality was chosen by Auditor General as a pilot municipality for the amendment of Audit Act. Now, you ask yourself now, sitting here, I'm struggling to get logic here, Chair. Now I'm trying to say, Chair, indeed, we need to assist the department to come out with solution to the problem. But I think the solution is there and the department know where to find the solution. The other matter, Chair, and I agree with Honorable Dodofu, that Section 154 must be the priority. The worst scenario must be 139. But between Section 154 and 139, there must be a feasibility study. There must be work done before you invoke Section 139. Part of the work is to make sure what are the problems of individual municipality that must be put under Section 139. I have raised municipalities that were supposed to be at 139 currently are not at 139, according to Auditor General Audit Outcome, and it's a public knowledge. Now, part of the exercise of making sure that you collect facts, you'll go to, and yesterday we were informed by Bojanala that they have moved away from using consultant. Maybe that will reflect on their 2019-2020, and I hear the chair said, no, we must clap hands. And I choose not to clap hands yesterday because I know for the fact that when they appear and all members of the committee that I'm leading are having a list of consultants where Bojanala also is using consultant for the past financial years. Maybe the year to come, and now they are using an in-house staff members. It's critical to identify consultants and how much are those consultants being paid, when were they appointed, because most of the consultants that the Auditor General give to us have been appointed for more than 10 years, not doing their work, but they are continuously doing their work and being paid a lot of money by municipalities. So you bring Section 139, Section 139 come with the administrator. Administrator embrace the same consultant. Now, I'm struggling to see maybe how are we going to go out from this problem, Chair. Now, and I agree with and again what is on Auditor General report, Chair, is that municipalities failed to collect revenue. Their expenses are more than the cost available. As have been mentioned by honorable members, the ballooning of structures. So I'm asking now this question to the department. Do they monitor that all these municipalities are using the grant that it's meant for project for what it's meant for? And again, the Auditor General have indicated that most of the grants are diverted to be used for other expenses than what it meant for. So now I think, Chair, maybe and for me, it become a problem for a municipality led by, and I think here we are not going to blame one person here, but we must also blame all councillors who are sitting on those councils to allow municipality to operate on unfunded budget. Shame to them. And there is no color. Of the councillors and from which side are you from. But you sit in there as a councillor, you adopt, you allow the municipality to run with unfunded budget. but you still call yourself a councillor. So I'm asking myself, Chair, and I think it's one of the area of consequence management, which I think must be thoroughly looked. Now I think maybe the solutions to the problems, Chair, will be the following, and we won't impose to municipality to the department, but we will come with proposal. Firstly, they must revisit all the structures of the municipalities, because some of the municipalities, yesterday we were told that one municipality, the salary bill, it's 68%. Other municipalities are continue to advertise whilst not having money. Structures. So they need to revisit their structures. And I think if it goes to a push, maybe impose a moratorium. Because you allow people to employ whilst the municipality is bleeding. Not only that, Chair, the Auditor General is saying across all the municipalities, you have a challenge of competency on officials responsible specifically on finance unit. Now there is a need for skilled audit. Right people are being put in the wrong positions. Wrong people have been put in critical positions that make them to collapse the municipalities, and it's a fact. So, and I agree that the municipality must, the department must ask a turnaround plan or a plan from all the municipality on how to pay the creditors. And you'll see, and I think, again, Chair, it's a public knowledge. Auditor General is saying irrelevant or creditors that are not important than others are being paid within 30 days, but ESCOM and Water Board are not being paid, are paid after 312. What is the interest? Who are those people who are likely to be paid within 30 days, whilst critical creditors, which is ESCOM and Water Board, are not being paid? And I think it's necessary to emphasize on why ESCOM and Water Board must be paid. Some people and some who are sitting here are paying their services. When ESCOM cut electricity, it will cut for everyone, irrespective did you pay or you didn't pay. So you can see, Chair, that I don't want to go to what members are saying about the creditors. Sorry, that's not my wedding of the Holy Spirit ones. But I'm saying, Chair, it's a public knowledge that there are other creditors that doesn't jump 30 days not being paid, consistently being paid. Maybe some are paid within 21 days. Who are they? What are they bringing to enhance service delivery in municipalities? We want to know those service providers. Chair, and I agree that indeed the province is having a capacity and there is a room for improvement, Chair. We can't be talking as if there won't be a solution to these problems. In one meeting, the Premier indicated that the province is having an instrument and a capacity in a form of home bodies who are having skills to can bring life to municipality. And those people are not utilized. Why are we choose to bypass people who have capacity and go and agree with the honorable members who are saying, how much do you pay for administrators? And not only administrators, because it's administrators and the team of experts. How much do you pay to those people? That money was supposed to resolve all the problems that we are from the oversight. There are problems there. A simple problem where we come from, where the municipality was supposed to put a butler door, security door. But you're paying an administrator a lot of money, you fail to pay to just put a security door so that you protect the asset of the municipality. I'm making an example of where we come from, Chair, because yesterday I was saying, we are here, we'll receive the report, let's go to the ground, we'll get something different. And I'm saying, Chair, improvement can be done, some project can be managed, and I agree that, though we agree with the presentation that some responsibility falls, particularly the water and sanitation falls on water and sanitation nationally, but when there is a project, maintenance must be done by the municipality. They must give them the department a plan of maintaining the project, because the project benefits the constituency and people of that municipality. You can't call for National to come and maintain the project that they assisted you. What is your responsibility? Why are you existing? And this one, it doesn't point a person. When you say municipality, you start from councillors, mayor, everyone, including the accounting officer and the officials that are there, are paid not for doing their work. So if we are not going to raise these things, Chair, like you are indicating, we'll continuously raise them, we'll come re-raise them, they will remain, the state of municipalities will collapse. And I think, and I think I agree with honorable members that indeed there is a room for improvement, but you can improve the situation if people are folding their hands. So that's the contribution, Chair, but I think generally it doesn't talk well to the province, and I agree that it pointing all of us who are here, that everyone who's here must play a role to make sure that there is a turnaround on all the municipalities. Just putting a blame without coming with a solution to the problem, it's not going to assist anyway. But all of us need to come with a solution to this problem. And I think we welcome a visit actually, but the visit of NCOP come a week before the visit of Northwest Legislature. So next week we'll be here again doing the same thing. So I think the community of Bujana Alamas applaud this government to dispatch warm bodies to come and make sure that they follow value for money, because that's the reason for the visitation, which I think after visiting, Chair, And I have heard you when you were hammering on this thing that we are not here to play. And I think if all of us will use the same thing, that our visitation must not be seen as just coming here to look on these things as if we are playing, and we'll go back and come again maybe next year and leave everything as if we are here to come and greet our friends. We are not having friendship. Here we're working, and we must make sure that people are working. Everyone is doing his work. Thank you, Chair.
Much appreciated. Thank you for taking your time. Don't rush. You are here all the time. Thanks for enjoying and addressing your views. We have 2 members left currently. It's Honorable Micha, Honorable Freddy, and then we'll give the Honorable Tweet if he wants to say something, Honorable Fassel, because by that time they wanted to say second bite, according to Honorable Tweet. We'll give them, but I know they won't be long. This is in the nature of Honorable Tweet to go to the facts. Yes. So then Salga, we'll give also Salga a chance. So welcome Salga. We were indicating earlier that we were looking for Salga.
And government will respond.
After everything, we'll hand over to the Premier to respond. The Premier and the MEC to respond. Honorable Micha, the floor is yours.
Okay, no, thanks very much, Honorable Chair. You know, I'm like Honorable Dove, not knowing where to start. What is painful, Honorable MEC, is that we are coming from the ground, and we have experienced how a lot of money, public money, is just lying around and not being utilized. The extent at which projects are there, have been there, but are currently not working. Not just projects for that matter. Your water and sanitation projects, you can imagine if those plants are not working, what is the situation and what is it saying to government as a whole? Now it's very worrying. I'm not sure, but maybe as part of the presentation or responses by the Premier and the MEC, we will get to understand what is this system of IGR doing? How is it addressing challenges of the people on the ground? Because the whole good English and explanations that we speak in boardrooms and that we write in our offices clearly does not address the challenges that are facing our people. While we sit here and maybe agree to the presentation that says to us the municipalities have collapsed, whoever is at the receiving end are the poorest of the poor. The poorest of the poor. Now I'm asking myself, and that's why I think maybe as part of the response we'll get to understand, why do we then have to have these structures of IGR if they are not talking to the challenges that are facing our people and how to resolve those challenges? Why do we have to have your senior managers in the municipality going for strategic planning sessions annually, which sessions does not respond to the challenges that are facing our people on the ground? Because we're sitting here having a clear mandate, and the core mandate that we have its service delivery provision to our people. And maybe that's what the Honorable Member Dodov is saying. We must all admit that we are failing our people. Whether we are able as the department to assist municipalities, and I'm not sure, because you know, as much as we all are saying municipalities must be assisted, in the first place, how do we have municipalities themselves allowing themselves to be sitting with people who do not have the capacity to do what they're supposed to be doing? It means at the back of their minds, there is this assistance that must come from provincial government. And therefore we can appoint this senior manager, despite the fact that it's not equal to the task. The department will come and assist. Oversight committees for your NCOP and your oversight committees, they will remind the department your section 154, your section 139 of MFMA, and so forth and so forth. Simply because in the first place, the municipalities do not themselves say we need a person equal to the task. I was asking myself for an example. Who is the director relevant to this department in this municipality for this project that we've been going around with? What is he doing? What is it that he's directing in the municipality if he can't come up with a solution to the problem that is facing our community in terms of the set project that we're talking about, that we have been seeing? You ask a question on the side, for how long? And all of the questions are saying, all of the responses are saying for years. And you're talking to a senior manager who is appointed to come and do the work that is related to this. But he proudly says to you, it has been for years. Much as we say we are sitting with this project, this municipality, for an example, goes all the way and invested money at VPS. None of them says to us the effect of that investment in terms of the service delivery challenge that is facing the poorest of the poor on the ground. That when we sit here and drink clean water, our people in Lethabile, our people in Mututunge, our people wherever and wherever, are waiting for somebody to tank our water that they don't know where it's coming from to them. But on annual basis, I can tell you we've got strategic planning sessions by municipalities. On annual basis, we are talking adoption of the budget and so forth and so forth. But to a large extent, it's not responding to the challenges that are facing our people on the ground. And I think maybe as part of monitoring by the department, they must be keen to understand or to know what is in this performance agreement of a senior manager of a municipality in all the relevant directorate. Because I know for sure, for an example, when they appoint them, they invite the department, come and be part of the panel. Salga, come and be part of the panel. Whoever, come and be part of the panel. They appoint. At the end of the day, they stand back. The municipalities sit with people. They are sure whether these people will be able to address the problems, the challenges that are facing our people on the ground. And at the end of the financial year, nobody does anything, because what we're getting as a presentation now is that corruption and maladministration has eaten up to the little that all the municipalities had to address the challenges of service delivery. But none of them says to us, what is it that they have done in terms of that area? That then talks to what the outcome of the Auditor General says. Yesterday we have heard, for an example, Bujanala says, for years they have not been talking to their UIF and W. To them it has been, it's fine. it's fine, it must happen, it will happen, and so forth and so forth. So I'm basically saying, as part of the IGR, maybe the provincial government must be keen to understand these critical areas of the municipalities. We know that they don't have powers to take over and run what the municipalities have been doing, but at least to be able to say to them, here you are not doing well, this is how we think you must do it. Here you are not doing well. These performance agreements of senior managers, they draft those performance agreements themselves. Council will just go there and adopt them. To a large extent, there will be no assessment even of those performance. I'm not sure whether we still have those that even get to be paid, your senior managers, in terms of the performance bonus, because I know for sure that that's one area also that they will never fail in terms of that. So I'm basically saying, if we say there's a need for a turnaround, it should be understood to be saying the turnaround must be able to address the challenges that are facing our people. It must be able to change the lives of the people on the ground. It must be able to talk to what is being an experience to our people on the ground, and therefore a need for improvement. Where we're sitting, and I think honorable members have said that, you are not saying anything. It's fine with you. You are not saying anything. And when other people come and say to you, no, you know more, regardless of a problem, you resist. You resist. That's a problem. Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Parliament is making sure that they take down all suggestions, all advice, and will also consolidate the closeout report, the debriefing. After Honorable Ferdi, and then it's Honorable Stella, and then we hand over to government to respond.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll try to be as short as possible. Taking cue from all the members who have spoken before me, I have to also add and say that I think the department has done quite well in terms of identifying the problems. But now I think we can assist the department in this way. When you look at your page 11 up until your page 15, the department there, under your service delivery protests, it went at length on saying what the allegations were, what your specific issues were, and what the recommendations were. But what is lacking from this report, and I think because we are coming back next week as the legislature, they can go back and populate it so that it can close some of these gaps and also send to NCOP. It does not talk to issues of your time frames, and it does not talk to your issues of your who's the responsibility will lie with. When you look at your page 11, it talks to your 74 allegations of corruption and maladministration. But what I'm not getting from here is which municipalities are being referred to here, which councillors are we referring to here, and how they are intending to deal with it. Because it simply says that the Office of the Premier has referred all these allegations to the public protector. But when you look at the specific issues, when you go to your bullet point number 4, 5, 6, 7, it talks to issues that do not even need one to go to a Chapter 9 institution. Those are issues that by just looking at them, they are in contravention of your code of conduct. And internally, either the municipality or the MEC must take action without even necessarily going through this. So I think some of these matters we are also creating for ourselves by making processes to become cumbersome and end up not getting solutions. Your page 12 talks to service delivery issues on water. And when you look at most of these specific issues, there are issues that we saw from our oversight, your issues of your pump stations and all that, and communities vandalizing some of these things. Then you look at the solution. The solution there is that there must be a comprehensive provincial water strategy. But it's not giving one a sense of comfort in that when are you developing this water strategy? It does not give one comfort to understand what the role of the Department of Water and Sanitation will be and whether engagement in developing this strategy will be done and when it will be done. Your page 13 is similar. It talks to implementing a comprehensive plan to address your health complaints across the province. But it also does not give you, it does not suffice. The statement itself does not suffice. It does not say what the role of the Department of Health in the province will be, what national will do, what your local health, municipal health will be doing, and whether engagement with stakeholders. And it's like that up until your page 15. So I think they must populate it so that it can talk to your time frames. Then your page 16 talks to issues of memorandums that have been submitted, and it dates back to from 2011. I think the page is quite concerning in the sense that it says that for some issues there have been memorandums that were submitted 9 years back, but the report is not telling you where are we now, where any of these issues that were identified in the memorandums addressed. The report tells you that yes, the memorandum was submitted on 26 March 2014, but we are on 2020 now. Have these matters been dealt with? What is the status quo? So I think those are issues that they can address. Then your page 17 is giving a very concerning statement. And this statement is very concerning on your page 17, the last bullet. It says that the issues that were raised in this protest are the same issues that were raised in 2018-19. Has there ever been any movement from when this issue were raised? What is the status? Since January 2020, there's been this protests, but the issues that were raised in this protest were raised previously. So we need to understand that where are we now? Is there any way that these issues are being addressed, or we get this service delivery protest after they've ended, it's the end of it? Your page, I don't think it's not numbered here, but I think this is what the HOD said as we were doing a role to play in your issues of water. But he mentioned that they also provide certain support to these municipalities on issues of water. I would want the department to take all of us into confidence to say, this is the support that we are providing, and this 1, 2, 3, 4 is beyond us. Because to make just a statement like that is not really assisting. And it also talks to what Honorable Micha has spoken to, your issues of your IGR. We can't have a situation whereby we have an act that governs how local, provincial, and national must assist each other. Then we have situations where we'll get things to say this is one, this is not my scope and all that. So I think that must be addressed as well. On issues that Honorable Gleason mentioned, and I think this is one issue that as politicians we always run away from. At one point, I think councillors as well must start being accountable and being held accountable for their actions. This report tells us of why the department is trying to assist but is also getting resistance from the very same people that it is trying to assist. I come from a system where I was taught that I don't know the direct translation, but it talks to you help those who want to help themselves. We cannot have a situation where municipalities are not even doing skills audits to check that are these people that we are having in the system assisting. You see, the moment the department is saying that we are intervening because we are failing on issues of your finances, as someone who's leading that department, as a councillor who's supposed to be doing oversight in that municipality, I have to go back and say, who am I having in my finance department? Are those people qualified? Where are the problems and how do I deal with those? So I think Also, this is where SALGA comes in on your issues of capacitating councillors, so that they are courses that they take their councillors to also address issues of oversight that councillors need to do. You know, it's very concerning when you'll have issues whereby monthly section, I think it's 71 reports are being submitted to mayors. Then when you are having issues of irregularities around your funds, a mayor will come and tell you that, no, I was not getting these reports. Those are mandatory reports that they are supposed to be getting. Some of these issues, they are supposed to be the ones that they pick up even before they can come to SCOP or even the Office of the Auditor General. So I think also councillors must start doing their work and understanding what their work entails, especially on issues of oversight. On your issues of your section 139s, I think members have spoken at length. But as part of the solutions, there's been a bill that has been in the pipeline, I think, for some time now, that I think also as NCOP must assist us on this one. The bill that was going to talk to guidelines on must be governed, must be dealt with. Because we can talk about how section 139 should be done and how it's not being done and how it's not being implemented. But the Constitution just gives you a guide to say you must also go and make legislations guide to say you must assist in guiding this. And I think that's where and policies that will assist in guiding this. And I think that's where as parliamentarians we come in. And we don't just throw it to the department. I've had a situation in this province whereby the terms of reference of an administrator were even talking to powers that one cannot even begin to start saying that an administrator can have these powers. A power of council. Council is a group of people who are elected. In giving your powers to administrator and coining the terms of reference, you must coin it in a way that talks to that space of purview that they are in, so that it does not encroach on a person who's voted versus a person who has taken to go there and assist. So I think those are some of the issues that we need to. You have a situation whereby you say we are appointing an administrator, so section 139 administrator, to go and assist, and that could have been used for other things. Then the administrator gets there, there's already a finance section in that municipality. Getting a salary, there's a salary bill assigned to that department. The administrator comes with the team, they get paid. The administrator appoints a consultant to do work that the administrator, in terms of their terms of reference, they are saying it's a space of expertise that they were supposed to bring. So now you're having 3 bills that are going to one thing that could have been handled by one person. So we need to start looking at that. And I think we were deliberate as the portfolio committee, I think it was SCOPA, when we said that have finance experts sent there under 139 are spending on consultants. Which means there's a problem somewhere, or this administration team, and save that money for other service delivery. On your page 37, it's some lessons learned. And I think because the department here has identified these lessons, it's all well and good to identify issues. But I think this is what we all know. When you look at a report that we received from last year's local government week, whereby the late MEC was the MEC. So failure by municipalities to implement recommendations on your closeout reports. Because we now know that municipalities do not implement these recommendations, what we should be getting from the department now is how are they going to ensure that there is some sort of a mechanism that will monitor the recommendations that were made in closeout reports and make sure that they are effected. So I think we must move in that posture whereby we no longer just bring these problems that we know, but we start saying that because we know that the problem is resistance from councils, how do we counter this resistance? What solutions do we have to deal with issues of your resistance? The bullet point number 2 on your page 37, I think the department must take away in its entirety. It says there's inadequate resourcing of the intervention by provincial government due to financial constraints. I can talk at length about how much has been done. At one point, the department must sit down and do an analysis that we are 80-something administration since 2011. Drill into municipality by municipality and say whether this administration has worked or not, and at what cost did that administration come with. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Sonakiel. Honorable Stella from Salga and the chairperson of the portfolio. Thank you. Be the last one.
No, thanks very much, Chair. I think with all the engagements, listening to them as they unfold, we agree that not audit is not changing. You move from qualified to disclaimer, but the salary will increase the following year. So we need now to change the mechanisms in which we use to determine how are we going to increase. I know that it's depending on the grade that the municipality is in, but we need to factor in the performance of the municipality so that we can be able to encourage employees and the deployed councillors to say, let's work harder because we know this is going to affect our salaries as well. The third point I want to raise, Chair, is blacklisting of service providers. providers that are meant to complete projects, and year in, year out, we are dealing with, and year in, year out, we are dealing with projects that are not completed, but that same service provider will be appointed. We must begin to blacklist those service providers in the province. If you've been appointed to do a job and you know that you have failed in the weaknesses of local government, and as such they are using how vulnerable local government is to their advantage. You appoint someone today, in a month they come and they tell you about how the scope should be increased and how they have under recycling accounting officers that are unable to rescue municipalities. You have an accounting officer or an administrator that is employed for 5 years. Let's say he found the municipality having a qualified opinion. When he leaves the municipality with a disclaimer, and we are expecting that person to can rescue the municipality. So we are recycling old goods, thinking that somehow they will begin to shine, and it's not feasible. The last point I want to speak to, Chair, it's the issue of revenue enhancement strategy, which SALGA continues to engage with municipalities to see how can we assist municipalities to collect better. But what we do not want to address is the fact that national and provincial government, they owe municipalities lots of money. The Department of Education and the Department of Health, they owe municipalities lots of money. Now we may speak about communities and how can we increase our revenue collection. And if you can check year in, year out, the number of people that are applying for indigent subsidy increases, and that is going to decrease your collection. But if departments themselves are not helping municipalities by paying them so that it can increase the coffers of the municipality and see how they best resolve service delivery challenges, then that is going to defeat the purpose. So we must encourage provincial and national departments to pay municipalities, because what is painful is that local government is at the cold face of service delivery. You can't say, I am going to shut down electricity in a hospital. Those people are in your municipality. The first place they are going to go to protest is not the Department of Health. They are not that informed. They are going to go to local government. So you find yourself addressing issues that are not even your core mandate. But with that being said, Chair, I agree local government needs to be salvaged, and there's a lot that needs to be done. And beyond all the policies and strategies that can be put in place, we need to speak to the character of people that we are employing and deploying. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, from Salga. Is the chairperson of the committee is here? Okay, I think. Oh, sorry, apologies. I expected MPLs to be that side.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm not the chairperson, but my hand was up. And
apologies, I expected members to say that side.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, I just want to talk to one issue. Maybe let me start by appreciating the efforts that our provincial government is taking in ensuring that they put aside Thursdays as local government Thursdays so that they deal with issues that affects local government. I think it's a very good thing that government has came up with. Also the work that the rapid response team established by the Premier, I think it can go a long way, and as the portfolio committee, I believe that we will support the initiative as well and hold the executive accountable. But the area that I want to talk to, Chairperson, I cannot agree more with Honorable Chairperson of the Standing Committee, Honorable Dodov, on the fact that indeed we need a turnaround with regard to local government, the manner in which we have been doing things. There's a need for us to do things differently. But the issue that I want to talk to, Chair, it's the organized crime that is happening in local government. There's a systemic organized crime that is happening, and to me, I find local government being very casual in dealing or addressing such organized crime. I can tell you how local government is being sabotaged with regard to electricity. It's a serious challenge that local government is experiencing, and they do not have capacity to deal with such. It's a matter that maybe we have to reflect on and come with some kind of strategy and inform even the crime intelligence unit, that organized unit, crime unit, to inform them about such things. I'm saying this because I'm from local government. I know what was happening in local government. But the manner in which local government is handling that, it's worrisome, and it's quite worrisome, and it's not getting any attention, which also impacts very negative with regard to service delivery. Yesterday, I saw on the presentation that was presented before us about the outcomes of audits, the audit outcomes. And one issue that was critical to me was lack of portfolio evidence that municipalities are submitting to Auditor General. To me, it's a crime on its own. I can say, I can stand firm and in record, Chairperson, that I was the mayor in Kekeng. Prior to the end of my term of office there, we conducted a pre-audit as a municipality. Come the time when the municipality was audited, on those areas that the municipality got disclaimer on, it was because of lack of audit document, portfolio of evidence, lack of documents. But the time when we conducted a pre-audit, that was submitted to Auditor General. And it was very quiet. I even called them to say, but in January we had a pre-audit and Auditor General gave us a report, which all these areas, I know the area that the municipality was not doing well. But now why is it that there's a deliberate sabotage of not handing over documents that must be submitted? So record keeping is something that really we don't have to be casual when dealing with it. Yes, yesterday I had colleagues talking about it, but I think it's one area that we really have to compel municipalities and get reports on that. The other matter, which is the last matter that I want to talk to, and it's even directed to Salga, and I'm requesting that honorable members of Portfolio Committee of the Legislature, we have to summon, also we have to call Salga, particularly on the issue of ESCOM. The interest is very exorbitant that municipalities are confronted with. Yes, there's an interministerial committee that is dealing at national level with the interest that is being accumulated from ESCOM. But I can tell you, municipalities are paying exorbitant amount of money for just on the interest. You find municipalities owing 54 million. And out of 54 million, 25 million is interest. So to me, I find it to be very unfair on municipalities. Yes, municipalities do not have capacity, we do agree, but somewhere we have to assist them, especially on this ESCOM accounts. So maybe that is my submission from my side, Honorable Chair. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We hand back over to the province. We'll give it back to the President. Give a response on what was arranged by all members who took their time and gave their advices on how to move forward. Thank you, Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And thank you to all the inputs made. I think I want to reiterate the point I made yesterday, because the question of taking responsibility has come up yet again.
And I think I was very loud to say that where I'm sitting, I am in no darkness about where the buck stops and the question of the principle of succession and so forth and so on. And I just want to say, indeed, there's a kind of picture that we have. But let me respond to the issues that have been raised. I've had an opportunity normally conjures a sense of positivity. But this opportunity was to talk to a number of councillors at a number of municipalities. I remember at one municipality we started at 6 p.m. listening to councillors, and we finished at 6 a.m. We drove away from this municipality. No break except when nature really calls, no water. I don't even want to say no food. It was 12 hours. But in terms of this initiative, it was a pattern throughout. And with the current approaches, I continue exposing myself not only to councillors, myself and my team, but to various other stakeholders. Now, the reason I'm referring to these experiences, I am at great pains to remember one municipality when we raised the question, what services do you deliver? And they said, we deliver the following services. Some municipalities were very, very upfront and explicit. They said, we deliver no services. People who get paid every month. The reason I'm highlighting this is that as I have accepted, I don't accept it now, only now, the need for a turnaround. And I think all we have to do is to see the actions that are unfolding. That turnaround is going to be assisted by nothing and nobody. Because the municipalities say to us, we deliver no services. You know, when you turn around, you expect that there would be good managers here, there would be good role players here, and so forth and so on. And I think it needs to be said up front, you are turning around virtually emptiness. And I think leaders that are gathered in this room had better understand that. I think this is going to be a critical success factor. We have already started on this turnaround. I think all we have to do is to say this is what it is, this is what it is about, these are the elements of it. But I believe more in action rather than coming up with all kinds of good-sounding words. What is the solution to the current situation? My knee-jerk reaction would say everybody must go. I mean, clearly, if you find men and women, leaders, who say we deliver no services, your turnaround strategy should aim at everybody going. The good thing is this country had lost some keys, and we have found those keys. And these are the keys that lead you to wearing an orange uniform. And that is going to be of great assistance, but it will only go to some extent. Clearly, as we listen to the president of our country, in addressing matters related to turnaround, as we listen to the president of our country and other leaders, there is no doubt a large part of our country is corrupt. And I'm raising this because we know, all of us, let's not try to play stranger. We know the mechanism is very simple. Work very hard to access a particular position so that you can access resources. It's a key principle that drives the character and the direction in which a large part, and I'm not saying its entirety, of the South African state operates. And as you come up with your turnaround strategy, these are the obstacles that you keep on confronting and having to confront. By the way, I have worked in a similar environment. I was during the time of President Obasanjo. I was part of their turnaround team there in turning around the public service of Nigeria at federal, at state, at local level. I need not say more about similarities between that country and our country. But those are the realities that you have to factor into whatever you do. And the question is, do we have the necessary culture in our country, the public sector in particular, that would facilitate that turnaround? Difficult but not impossible. I think that's a very clear response. I mean, why is it that many of our municipalities openly, broad daylight, work together with gangsters? We know it, and let's not pretend we don't know it. They work with gangsters where you reach a point where you have difficulties in separating the municipality and the gangster. You look at the SCMs, supply chain management processes of those municipalities, you find that tendency. You go to some municipalities, who decides who gets appointed? Reference is made to the gangsters. We know it's a reality. And honorable members, as we grapple with this issue of turnaround, I think we must remind ourselves about these realities so that as all of us continue to assess the performance of this turnaround, that we know what are the elements, what are the critical success factors, what are the possible inhibitors and impediments. In case we have forgotten the character of our public sector, all we have to do is, when people were dying, when people were hungry, and the president went around the world, including doing something that this country never dreamt of, by knocking on the door of the IMF, and he came back with 800 billion. We know what happened. The events are very recent. And I'm highlighting this just to characterize the kind of framework, environment, and context that we work, because it says this culture is so entrenched that even the death through COVID-19 of people would not scare us. I'm saying these things not because I'm saying we should shy away from turnaround. I say we should grab the bull by its horns, but understand the reality. It's going to be a very, very rocky road, but it must be done. We have, since we started, we've been talking a lot about Section 154. And let's just remind ourselves, moving from 139 to 154 is not a question of changing numbers. Because as you move from 139 to 154, a lot of the fundamentals are still necessary. You need men and women who would crack these problems in municipalities that have the necessary skills. And we're a public sector community that does not put much value on skills. We know it. We are a public sector institution and community that does not put value on development of people, especially of managers and leaders, on an ongoing basis. That struggle has been on since President Mandela was president of this country. I was Director General then, and we all received personal letters from President Mandela please, please, Directors General, prioritize development. And to this day, we have not. So I'm just saying, we have to understand, and I support the approach of 154. But we've got to understand that the managers we're going to use, we've been talking a lot about intergovernmental relations and managers supporting local municipalities. That presupposes that there is a lot of capacity in these provincial departments. But I love that. The culture, the mindset, the skill set is a major frustration. So that as we implement the 154, we must at all times be awake so that we smell the coffee and understand precisely what the challenges are. Let me give you a recent experience 4 months ago. When I was having my fair share of COVID-19 at the hospital, late at night I got a call. Lying there's a patient, not knowing what tomorrow is going to look like. I got a call, it was from a municipality. And the mayor of this municipality is the one who was calling. I will never mention the name of the municipality. And he said, Premier, I'm surrounded. He knew because it was all over the place that I was admitted for COVID-19. Premier, I'm surrounded by people. People are very, very, very agitated. The place is dark. Can you please help? I could easily have just shouted the phone, but I called the general manager of NCOP. And I was on my knees and negotiated and pleaded. I would talk to the mayor, talk to the general manager. I was just back and forth between these two individuals. And I could hear in the background the frustrations of the people. The lights eventually were switched on. Now, if an institution, and I'm not throwing mud at this, can wake up in the height of all of us being scared of this COVID, a patient to say, please help us to switch on the lights. It says a lot about what institutions we're talking about. And therefore, as we roll up our sleeves, we must understand the gravity of the task at hand. Turnaround often exist, and they do by their very nature, exist within a multi-institutional context. And some of us in this room operate in these various institutional contexts. And we have taken calculated and very brave decisions around turnaround of municipalities. I'm not going to go into details. This avenue is not an appropriate one to say the details. But we know what experiences we have come across as part of that effort of turning around within the context of the multi-institutional arrangements that we have been doing these things with him. And I hope honorable members will understand what I'm talking about. I agree that the problem of municipalities is not the responsibility of municipalities alone. It is the responsibilities of all spheres of government. And I dare say it is the responsibility of the entire country. We have to continue fighting very hard against this monster called corruption if we really are to fix this part of our public sector. We have to do that. Because whether anybody wants to accept it or not, it is one of those preconditions, one of those critical success factors. So, yes, indeed, the inputs that have been made the state in which municipalities are is something that is a major shame upon ourselves, especially those of us who have, at least in the context of this room, taken responsibility by virtue of the responsibility we have been deployed to. And I say that turnaround has already started. We will structure it in such a way that honorable members, from time to time, we are able to give feedback with regard to how we're doing. There was a time when, in some part of our country, there was a directive that said, Job Mokoro, when you are accused of having done X, Y, Z, step aside. I think we all know about it. And somebody said, if we all have to do that, will we have any one of us remaining? Those questions were asked. So I'm saying, it's going to be very, very, very critical that all of us, but especially people who have direct responsibility, that as we grapple with this matter, we must have the necessary audacity and be brave to say, this is not a Mickey Mouse, it's not a picnic kind of change that we bring about. It's a massive change. We know that, I think it was around 2009, or whenever the time was, that one of our late ministers, Sikelo Siteka, may his soul rest in peace, came up with a very brave, very impressive and radical turnaround strategy for municipalities. And I'm sure if we were to revisit that, before we come up with any other magic formula, if we were to revisit that and just understand the experiences that that wonderful initiative came across, what are those experiences, then I think we will be able to start off at a level where we would have educated ourselves about those experiences, and therefore, what is it that we should capitalize on? What is it that we should avoid? Yes, it's going to be a rough road. It should be done, and it can be done. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kulmia. Thank you for the report on MEC, the department, the HOD. We will still move to the MEC. Want something to add?
Yes, Chair, please. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members. Chair, I must say that I really appreciate the robustness of the discussions of the honorable members, including how they would want us to deal with the challenges in the province. Chair, I must say that, honorable members raised pertinent issues, which for us, like the Premier have said, we have started with the turnaround strategy. I must announce and report in this meeting that we said, together with the Office of the Premier, we said that there has to be a deliberate program on how we turn around things. Honorable members are right to say that the state in which these municipalities are in, especially in the province, they leave much to be desired. And I must say that we then had to tell the administration team from the Premier's office and the COCTA office to say that they have to develop a document. And they reported to us yesterday, myself and the Premier, to say that there is a document that they have developed. In that document, we want to see how we implement. We must not have a document that is there, of which what is the members are mainly saying here, that from time to time we come and talk about things, but we don't have a way on how we implement whatever we have developed. So there is a document that has been reported to us that will make sure that we were saying that in that document, we must have a portfolio of evidence that this is what we have done to municipality X and Y before we go to the last resort on Section 139. Because I must say that even the Premier, we are agreeing that Section 139 is not the solution to our challenge in the province. But there are many issues that we have to deal with before we even come to Section 139. But in that document, we have that will assist us. And it's clear that, honorable members, what you have raised on the role of the department on invocation of Section 154 and worse, if we don't get any joy or the cooperation of the municipality, we can then go to Section 139. But also what members have raised on the matter of Honorable Ditoit, you raised matters about, Honorable Fisser, you raised the matters of infrastructure that is ailing, and those are some of the things that as a provincial department, together with the Premier's office, because we have said ourselves as the department, we need to work closely with the Department of Finance, together with the Office of the Premier, to deal with these matters, because I believe that it can be that even the structures that are in the province are given to us by national, we don't even take care of them. So these are the things that we are going to deal with. And members saying that, on the moratorium, members are right to say there is a bloated structures. I must make an example of Tsoaim, for instance. I wrote a letter to Tsoaim to say they must stop that because they don't even have money to pay third parties, but they are bloating the structure. You know what they did? They ran to court. That's what these councils are doing to us as government when we want to intervene. And that's where SALGA comes in to say, as SALGA, how do we then assist the municipalities or those councillors not to take decisions that will make them, at the end of the day, not be able to give service delivery or provide service delivery to our communities. And members are right also to say that, in approaching this matter, we need to sit down, all of us, and see how we assist these municipalities. There is a program that we have developed together with the Office of the Premier on. That is why we are going to these municipalities, honorable members, on the IGR. I think members are right to say, where is IGR when all these things are happening in the municipalities? Because when these things are happening in the municipalities, at the end of the day, we sit here as the department and have to respond to some of the challenges that are happening. And some of them are being done deliberately by these municipalities. These councillors, they do things with impunity. And what they do, they tell us that they are another sphere of government. That's what they tell us. They go to court and interdict us. Like the Premier was saying yesterday, they interdicted the department, the president, and everyone else. And you ask yourself, how do you then come to a municipality and assist them? And we have said, and the Premier has instructed that we go to that municipality and deal with service delivery matters on implement the DDM. District development model, government must descend to that municipality and assist our communities out there. And we'll deal with these other matters with the courts. But on the matters of service delivery, the Premier has instructed that we go there as a team. All of us, the government departments must go there, make sure that our people are liberated from these things that are being done by councils. So I wanted to say that, members, I like what the Salga representative is saying. When I got into the office, the first week, I got a call from...
Hold on, let me see. Is there any problem that's it? You are noted. The two of you can talk. Are you fine? No, we thought you wanted to ask.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The first week in the office, when the Premier appointed me to act, what I got from councillors, they were calling me. They wanted the upper limits. I'm happy that Salga is saying it today here. And I asked myself to say, but Ntate Motoko, how are we approving upper limits when you look at the state of those municipalities? What are we saying to our people? And I am happy that Salga is attending to that, to say that if the municipality is not performing, because they will get pressure, those councillors will get pressure to make sure that the administration in those municipalities are working so that they get their upper limits. I'm happy that it's something that you are starting to engage on, because I also want us to engage on to say, how do we then assist? But also the empowerment of councillors is very key, like you are saying, Honorable Member from Salga. Because once we don't do that, it's going to be a challenge. And on lessons learned, it's true that from time immemorial, we had these interventions, and I had a chance to talk to members of the NCOP that it's important that when we learn from that, we must also be able to say, these are the lessons drawn from the interventions, and how can we improve that? And I must say that it has come up from the portfolio committee itself to say, in terms of recycling of the administrators or recycling of MMs, of which is something that we as a department are looking on, and I'm saying in this meeting that most of the administrators that are in now, they've been vetted. Most of them that are in now, yes, there might be challenges on some of them, but most of them have been vetted in terms of how they can assist our municipalities. But in the terms of reference or the appointment letters, we said that if the administration is not yielding the results or doesn't go the direction that we want them to go, we are terminating. We're not going to wait for 6 months. If we said we are appointing you for 6 months and in 3 months you are not, in actual fact we said we want a report, not the closeout report, because for time immemorial you get administration in the municipalities, they get there, you wait until the term ends. When their term ends, then you want a report. So with us, we said with the Premier to say the best thing to do or to deal with these challenges is to make sure that from time to time, monthly, we get reports from them so that we can see whether they are performing or not. And those that are not going to be performing, then we release them, we get someone who will assist us, because it can't be that from time to time we get people, we pay them and they don't deliver. And I must say in this meeting and report that the Premier has raised the fact to say that, and what is honorable members, in fact, what honorable members are saying in this meeting is that why are we not utilizing the SMSs in the department instead of us using a lot of money to pay administrators who comes into these municipalities? And it's something that we have agreed upon with the Premier, that it's important that we start doing that, because when you look at the budget that you use, it's true what honorable members are saying. So I just wanted to highlight those factors and to say that Honorable Ziso the municipalities that we have mentioned, they are on our table, and we are in no time attending to that. You are right to say, and it has been raised, by the way, by yourselves and the portfolio committee, to say, how do you, or the criterion that you have used in putting municipalities under Section 139. And it's something that we have received from the committee and yourselves, honorable members. And these municipalities are the ones that we are looking at them. Because you are right to say that you know, you can't want to take municipality A and leave B when B is worse than A. What are you saying to the members? And I must say that, Honorable Medupi, on the matter of the cartel or the organized crime, it's worse. Even in water, that's what they do. They go to an infrastructure that is meant for our people, to give our people or our water, but they go and make sure that it doesn't work, so that you have their own people to come and do water tankering. This is what is happening in these municipalities. And we are saying, as a department, we are taking these matters seriously, and we are taking these matters to the police, because it can be that from time to time we deal with the infrastructure, we come, get people to go and fix the infrastructure. After a month, you are called again. The Premier is right to say that, you know, he was called whilst he was in hospital. I was also called by the mayor, the MM, not knowing what to do, but we had to plead with ESCOM. And I must say that you are right to say that. The other thing that is happening in these municipalities on ESCOM account, it's something that as MECs, the whole country, we are going to talk and zoom into this thing of ESCOM, that they are, you know, you pay a lot of money on interest. You have to deal with interest first, and then you can then pay your account. So it's something that we are going to discuss in MINMEC to see how we can assist the municipalities. But I must say, Chair, that I really appreciate, in fact, as a department, we really appreciate the fact that even the portfolio committee next week will be here, and those things that the members have raised, to say that we must go and improve. It means by next week, the team is here. We'll have to improve on those and be clear and specific on what we want to achieve, or how are we going to deal with those matters. Next week, this team will have been in a position to go, and even the cut and paste matters, they will have to deal with them. They must go and check the document and make sure that they update the document, so that it doesn't be a document that was presented here today and a document that is going to be presented next week without any changes or without any further information. So I must say that, Chair, I really appreciate the comments and the suggestions, because I'm happy that the members, they were able to say to the department, this is what you must do so that you are able to tackle these challenges that you are having. And this, when we deal with these challenges in this manner, I think we can go somewhere, and really appreciate the time that you have given me, Chair, to represent the department. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Much appreciated. HOD basics must follow. You can't let the MEC, when the finance speak, even a basic thing of them advertising the MEC. When the Premier speaks, always his team is here and doing it. When the MEC speaks, where is the team? Where is media? Please, from the department, correct those things and push it to a better level like all other departments. Sorry to the Mayor of Mafikeng, Koko, to the Mafikeng delegation, move to the Nageni, and then we'll properly the questions together so that those who want to take a water break or something can move as the mayor continue so that we can push. Thank you. Honorable Mayor of Madibeng. After that, the lady.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Let me take this opportunity to greet the honorable members of the NCOP, the honorable Premier, honorable members of the Legislature, Executive Mayor, all the speakers, Salva, and also Honorable Chair, our presentation is going to focus on all the items that are correspondence from the NCOP. But maybe I should indicate that most of the issues were discussed yesterday in our report, yesterday and today. However, Chair, I'm going to focus on the status of political leadership. The MEC has already indicated, and Honorable Chair, that we have a very serious challenge of the political leadership of municipalities. But I can indicate that the executive mayor, the portfolio committees, and the budget steering committees are always sitting to discuss the items before they go to council. With the portfolio committees chair, the challenge that we have, like the Salga said, the portfolio committee chairpersons are the referees and the
Just Honorable Mayor, after Naledi, get Makwasi, after Makwasi, Madibeng. Prepare your report so that we can. Based on the program, it is on the program, it is part and parcel. The people are here, so just get your presentations ready so that we don't delay. Now we will talk, I'll come to you. Let the mayor continue, please.
I just want to clarify something, Chair. Is this now Madibeng?
This is Mafike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairperson, I was saying, Chair, like the Salga said earlier on, that the portfolio committees and chairpersons are sharing portfolios, but they are the referees and the players at the same time. The council is we had an item to council where these issues are going to be addressed to make sure that they are not going to account to themselves. Going further on the political status, Chairperson, the Speaker of Council is always convening council meetings, it be the special, it be the ordinary councillors, and also he's responsible for public participation. During lockdown, Chair, we could not go to the committees as we were adhering to the lockdown regulations, but we communicated with our communities through local radio stations, distribution of documents for public input at schools, libraries, tribal offices, and so on, Chairperson. And the resolutions of council are always carried on and implemented by the officials, which are monitored by the councillors at the portfolio committees. Chair, we have a very serious challenge of the ward committees that are not sitting as requested now of late. During the 2019-2020, only 30% of the ward committees were functional, and out of 35 wards, only 10 wards were convening ward committee meetings. The Speaker has written a number of correspondence to various offices requesting that the councillors are not convening their meetings, councillors are not meeting with the communities, but unfortunately, Chair, letters have been written, reports have been written, but there's no acknowledgement of not even a single report that is being submitted to the relevant various officers. The Single Whip of Council, Chair, is also there, always whipping in council. The relationship with the chief whips of the opposition party is very good, Chair, because they always whip in council. There's no problem with that one, Chairperson. Coming to the operational of administrative capacity, Chair, all Section 56 and 7 managers are appointed except for one, socio-economic development, to which the interviews have been conducted. Our salary bill at the moment, Chairperson, is 31.5% with 770 personnel currently. Coming to interventions, Chair, of Section 139 and of Section 154. This was discussed at length yesterday, even today. I can see in the report of the MEC, it says the administrator started in September 2018 being placed under 137 of the MFA. That is true, Chair, but unfortunately, the very same administrator stayed in our municipality for 3 months, but when he was removed,
Council was not informed, no reports submitted. We don't know where that administrator is. Another administrator came again on the 5th of December 2018 until September 2019. That administrator also, Chair, I think is the administrator that Honorable Mutswana was referring to yesterday, that he was charged with 19 charges of financial misconduct and found guilty on 14 of those. That administrator, Chair, was very, very arrogant, not cooperative. There was a time where we had 2 reports on budget adjustment, the one for the same administrator, the other one for BTO. National Treasury had to send an official to our municipality to come and intervene because Council could not move with 2 reports, one from the administrator, one from the BTO. We don't have the report of that administrator since he left in September 2019. Another one came again in August, Chair, who also was withdrawn in June 2020. Also, municipality was not informed about the withdrawal of that administrator. It was only on the 30th of August when the municipal manager, Chair, submitted her report to Council. But that report was not fully discussed because it was not the municipal manager who wrote the report, but the administrator whom we don't know where she is at the moment. So we had that challenge regarding the administrator's Chair. Political infighting, Chairperson, we will not deny that there are some councillors who from time to time are causing instability in our municipality. That we cannot deny. One of the factors which seems to cause instability in councillors who would want to discuss items which Council has resolved on them, this is either by omission or by commission. For example, you are a white and yellow fleet. They know what happened to the white and yellow fleet, but every time when they go to Council, when they want to disrupt, they mention the white and yellow fleet, and knowing very well that item is being investigated by the Hawks since 2018. But every time it will come to say the white and yellow fleet was not discussed in Council. On operational constraint, Honourable Chair, we have the shortage of the white and yellow fleet, but municipality is currently looking into transversal agreement so that we can get our yellow and white fleet for the municipality. The COVID-19 infections also, Chairperson, we were unable to collect the revenue, but currently we are on 61%. We were at 35% during lockdown level 5 and 3, but currently we are at 61% because we are implementing our revenue enhancement strategy. The issue of unfunded budget, Chair, yes, it is true, our municipality, we cannot deny that, is one of the municipalities that adopted unfunded budget, which was caused by the legacy debt from Madibeng Water. The then Bosilo Water left the debt in the municipality, Chair. But we made an arrangement with them as how are we going to deal with the very same budget that is bloating our budget. And also the departments that are not paying municipality. The last time when I checked, Chairperson, they were owing the municipality 1.7, I think, million, which is not paid by
HOD or MEC, someone must remain from the department. Mayor.
Chair, on issues of service delivery protests, in the year under review, Chair, we have not get service delivery protest up to now. But Chair, maybe I should indicate to this House as to why do we have service delivery protests at times. Chair, when we address the community, when we do public participation, there are a number of service delivery issues that are raised by the communities, Chair. Your housing is not the responsibility of municipalities. Your water and sanitation is not, the list is endless. Your water and sanitation is not the responsibility of the municipalities, Chair. But when we go to the department, like Honorable Micha was saying, why is the IGR? The department are not coming on for, they are playing in silos. We always mention this, Chair, during the Premier Coordinating Council to say, Premier, the departments are not assisting as they are playing in silos. So when you go to the communities, you always find the projects that are under municipalities only, but those of the departments are not there. What we did then, the municipal manager then released some managers in his office to go and do door-to-door in various departments just to beg them to give them their plans. But unfortunately, we did not get anything. Up until we go to the office of the Premier to go and ask for intervention. I want to say thank you very much, Premier, because your office assisted us very much in the final, in the last IDP that we adopted. Through the office of the Premier, we are able to get all the plans from different departments, but they totally refuse to come on board. I don't know what the reasons are, because really we tried to write letters to the HODs, we wrote letters to the MECs then, but no acknowledgement of our letters at all, Chairperson. Chair, I'm going to request that municipal manager to move with other items that were in the report, and then he will come with the resolutions at how are we going to address our challenges, because we have some challenges in our municipality. Chair, we are not going to deny that sometimes as municipality we do fail in some other parts. We don't do oversight as councillors. But let the people not put our heads on their block because of the things that are not the responsibility of the municipality. Like I say, we are always saying, water and sanitation is not our responsibility. When you go to Ngaga, you read their reports, Chair. They are very excellent, they are very good. But when you go to the ground, it's something else that is different. No water, no nothing. Mahige municipality is 80% rural, with 107 villages. No water. I can attest that if you can go now to Kabe, for example, village, you'll find that people do not have water there. But you take the report from the district, the report is very good. We requested the MEC on the 29th of September at the Moonmek to say, MEC, we want your intervention between the local municipalities and the district, because we only see the district when we go to district command council. I'm not sure whether is it because the MEC, the minister, deputy minister, is always sitting in the district command council. That's where we see the district. Other than that, we don't communicate, we don't talk. They don't even take our calls, except for the MMC infrastructure. He's the only one when you call, he takes our calls. But the rest, they don't, except when we meet with them at the district command council. That's why I'm saying maybe it's because the deputy minister is sitting in there. The two MECs, MEC Hosho and MEC Kinetsu Musanuke, are sitting there. That's where we see the leadership of that municipality. Otherwise, I don't know where are they sitting. Maybe the district model, Honorable Chair, will assist municipalities to make sure that services are rendered to the communities. Thank you, Chair. If you allow me, MM will continue.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Premier, honorable members of the NCOP, honorable members of legislature, honorable councillors present, and mayors, as well as administrators and colleagues, delegations from Saudi as well. I'm going to be dealing with issues as per the instruction that actually are like your service delivery plans, your IDP, your provision for basic services, state of municipal infrastructure. Starting with the service delivery plan, one can indicate that the 2021 service delivery plan and implementation plan was also approved. The resolution is also indicated there. We also adopted the budget for 2020-2021, which was unfunded as per the input by the executive mayor. The 5-year special development plan was also approved, and also the land use management scheme. The road master plan also is in place. Back to basic action plan was also is also actually being reported to Cogstar on a monthly basis. We're about to conduct the review of the LED strategy. In terms of the integrated development plan, we can indicate that the municipality has adopted the IDP. Also, the resolution is also indicated there. The IDP was also adopted by council as per the resolution number indicated. The community consultation was also conducted by the mayor and councillors. And also, we also used some other platforms to do the community participation. The community needs also have been filtered in the IDP in terms of the projects. Municipality has integrated development plans after receiving them, as the executive mayor has indicated. As for the basic services starting with the water services. We will then understand that the Water Service Authority is the district municipality, which is Ngaka Mulema. We have entered into the service level agreement with the district. In terms of the provision of water, bulk is being provided by Madibeng Water Board, and also they are distributing in rural areas. We are only responsible for the urban edge. The indigent register is totaling about 6,708, and council has approved a plan to try and increase the indigent register. We are currently supplying water for 32,161 households within urban area. Water is actually abstracted from Molopo, as well as the Grootfontein boreholes. And then the other part of our supply is from the Zitumo Dam, which is at Mahikeng. And the one for the eye gets purified at Mahikeng Purification Works. Ngaka Mulema has also assisted us to upgrade the water treatment works that is run by Madibeng. In terms of the Mahikeng urban areas, we are experiencing shortage of water at the moment. It's quite a dire need. Presently, we are struggling to supply all our communities with water due to, firstly, the vandalism that has occurred in our Mahikeng, in the Mahikeng water purification works, as well as the drop in terms of the levels at the two sources of water. We're struggling really to cope up with the supply. The demand is actually not being matched by the supply that we're getting. However, we try to sit with both the department, Ngaka Mulema, to try and address the situation. We are perhaps maybe awaiting some sort of intervention from that meeting that we held. We are also responsible as the municipality for operations and maintenance of sanitation network, including the two wastewater treatment works, both at Mahikeng and Mabatu, with the associated 17 pump stations that we are also maintaining and operating. We had an assistance as a funding from the Department of Coxstar for about 20 million last year to try and get the two treatment plants to be fully operational. I can indicate now that those plants are now working effectively. It's just some few areas that we need to conclude, like your laboratory, where we needed to ensure that it's also in a running state, that we should also ensure that quality of water has been taken into account at all times, so that we shouldn't overload untreated water onto our source, which is the water treatment works along the river. In terms of electricity, Chairperson, I can indicate that Mahikeng does not have an electricity distribution license. What much we are doing is only the public lighting. NCOP is the one that's distributing electricity throughout our area, and we are losing revenue in line with that. We are also having facilitation to try and see if we cannot restart the process of acquiring the license, but our concentration will only be within the urban area, and we'll leave out the rural areas, because NCOP has got an expertise to ensure that communities are being given the electricity in those areas. We are faced with the vandalism and the theft of electrical cables, as we indicated earlier. That affects our high-mast lights, our traffic lights, also our traffic lights as well. The Department of Energy has also funded to undertake the following projects: the retrofitting for 2 years, amounting to 12.4 million, public illumination from 400 watts to 200 LED watts lighting. They also have funded the 500 solar water geysers, that are going to be, installed in areas like your extension 38 and 39. They've already managed to install those in about 30 houses, just as a pilot. But I think they will be starting to roll it out from henceforth. In terms of electricity projects, we can indicate that we have got, we are going to be trying to acquire licenses, as I indicated earlier, and also the electrification projects that are indicated in various villages. Also to increase the number of the indigents, as I also alluded earlier on. Coming to the roads infrastructure, one can indicate that we have usually developed the road master plan for both the gravel and the surfaced roads, and the estimated amount for all that is about 1.46 billion for surfacing those roads, and 555 million for graveling of the roads as per the road master plan. The total cost for short-term surfacing is about 52 million, and long-term is about 635 million. Coming to the waste management, Chair, I can indicate that the waste management section of the municipality comprises of the refuse removal, street sweeping unit, as well as the landfill, as well as the illegal dumping units. We are collecting, in terms of the refuse collection, for about 15,000 households within urban area. We are having a weekly collection schedule, which is used to achieve this objective. We are still even doing that right now. In terms of the waste disposal landfill site, Chairperson, I can indicate that we are having a landfill site that is having 15 years lifespan. However, we are trying to come up with mechanisms to see how we can then see how to improve our waste disposal system. We are operating with managers that are at the landfill site, and they are all internal employees. Coming to public amenities, I can indicate that the municipality is currently operating the civic center and 3 multi-purpose centers, while 2 are still under construction. The 2 that I'm talking about are in the rural areas, and we'll also be starting to get the community to also enjoy the benefits for those facilities. We've got about 10 community parks that needs funding within the municipality area of jurisdiction. There are also 10 libraries that fall under the Department of Culture, Arts and Sports, but operated by the municipality. There is a funding that you are getting from the department. In terms of unfunded projects, we've just listed a lot of them underneath here. I won't go through them one by one, and also we're indicating the location where they are, Chairperson, if you allow me. And also coming to the MIG projects for 2019-2020 financial year, we have indicated.
You can consolidate them.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, that's the indication as to where they are, the number of, the deliverables, as well as the estimated jobs that are going to be created with that. The budget also is indicated. We also are giving the status of all those projects. For 2020-2021 financial year is the same. We are also reporting the same manner as we've reported for the 2019-2020, indicating the project description, deliverables, the estimated job created, out of that, the budget, as well as the status presently. I can just maybe indicate that we are positive that all these projects are going to be concluded in time for the year under review. For challenges, Chairperson, I can just indicate, I also won't think it will be prudent for me to go through every line. The remedial actions are also taken, are actually been put across for the committee to have a look at it. That will then come to the conclusion of our reporting, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you, MM. We are moving to Naledi. After Naledi, can you please distribute, Makwasi, can you distribute your documents so that when the lady is done, you can continue? National disaster. Can someone just follow up to check where are they? HUD or LMC just to check. But Madibeng, can you conclude?
Okay, let me check them, Chair, the administrator and the team.
Yeah, I know Madibeng was ready from yesterday. They are ready. I've checked them already. You can just tell them to come and start. We can take it's exactly 26 past, at least by 20 to 4 we can continue so that we can conclude. 10 minutes.
Stage. We also have guests who are not necessarily on the panel but have joined us via the Zoom platform. Welcome and thank you too for taking the time to be with us this morning. You will also have an opportunity to comment during the course of the program. A warm welcome and gratitude to members of the public who are also joining us on YouTube. I encourage all of you joining us on YouTube to use the comment section to link up with us. To an extent possible, we will air your views here for the panel's consideration as well. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to go briefly back into time with regards to the creation of the Public Protector Office. 211 years ago in Sweden, an institution called the Ombudsman was born. Established in the Swedish Constitution of 1809, the institution was meant to serve as an intermediary between citizens and leaders in times of disputes. It was also meant to provide additional safeguards to complement what traditional checks and balances, such as the courts, were already doing. However, it was distinguishable from other accountability avenues in that it was a quick, cost-effective, and less sophisticated mechanism for people to vindicate their rights while holding their leaders to account. Following its birth in Scandinavia, the institution spread rapidly across Europe. 157 years later, Africa followed suit when the continent's first ombudsman was established in Tanzania in 1966. South Africa established a variation of the institution and called it the Office of the Advocate General in 1979. In 1991, the Advocate General was reinvented as the Office of the Ombudsman. In 1992, as the apartheid wheels started coming off, the current governing party proposed, I quote, "A full-time independent office of the Ombud should be created with wide powers to investigate complaints against members of the public service and other holders of public office, and to investigate allegations of corruption and abuse of power, rudeness, and maladministration," close quote. This was during the watershed CODESA talks. The party also stated that the Ombud should be appointed by and be answerable to Parliament and also have the power to provide adequate remedies. In 1993, following CODESA, the interim constitution of the country came into force, Chapter 8 of which made provision for the establishment of the Public Protector, whose powers were similar to those of the Office of the Ombudsman of 1991, which it replaced. The following year, the Democratic Parliament passed the Public Protector Act 23 of 1994 to give effect to the provisions of Section 110 and 114 in the Chapter 8 of the interim constitution. This paved the way for the Office of the Public Protector to open its doors for the service for the first time in October 1995. Accordingly, this office turns 25 this month. We have therefore convened this virtual gathering to celebrate this important milestone. We do so under the theme, 25 years of protecting the public. For those of you who are active on social media currently, kindly use hashtag PP1025 on all your tweets and Facebook tax in relation to this event. To help us reflect on the last quarter century while also looking to the future, we've assembled a panel made up of the following esteemed guests. We have the former Deputy Public Protector, Advocate Mamiki Goodman, who served this institution between 2005 and 2012. She was the first DPP in the history of this institution. We also have the former Public Protector and the Chairperson of the Law Faculty Trust in Social Justice, Professor Thuli Madonsela. She was the third PP in the history of the institution, and she served between 2009 and 2016. We also have the current Deputy Public Protector, Advocate Koleka Galega, who joined the institution in February this year as the third DPP since the establishment of this institution. We also have the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Honorable Ronald Lamula. We have the current Public Protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, who was appointed to the position in 2016 as the fourth Public Protector of South Africa. Lastly, but not least, we have the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Thandi Modise. In terms of Section 181, subsection 5 of the Constitution, the Public Protector accounts to the National Assembly and must report to the Assembly on his activities at least once a year. I must put on record the fact that invitations were extended to other former public protectors, Judge Selby Pakwa and Advocate Lawrence Bushwana. However, they were unable to join us due to prior commitments. The same is true for Advocate Kevin Malunga, who served as the Deputy Public Protector between 2012 and 2019. Judge Pakwa has, however, sent a pre-recorded video message, which we will play during the course of the program. In addition to these esteemed panelists, we have other guests whose presence I would like to also acknowledge. From the National Freedom Party, we've got Mr. Mdleche. From the Congress of the People, we've got Mr. Hanare. From Al Jama'a, we've got Mr. Ahmad. It must be noted that an invitation was also extended to all other political parties represented in Parliament. Now, in terms of how the program will run, we will take 3 addresses, one from the Public Protector, Advocate Mkhwebane, followed by the Minister of Justice, and thereafter we'll have the Speaker, Honorable Modise. During the panelists, each panelist will be given a few minutes to do their introductory remarks. Now, without any further ado, I would like to invite Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane to deliver her opening and welcoming address. Over to you, PP, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, Moderator, Ms. Lusibane, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Thandi Modise, Minister of Justice, Honorable Ronald Lamula, Judge of the High Court, Judge Selby Pakwa in absentia, Deputy Public Protector Advocate Galega, former Public Protector Professor Thuli Madonsela, former Deputy Public Protector Advocate Mamiki Goodman, as distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I know we also have the Honorable Mufugeng from the Justice Portfolio Committee. Good morning, and thank you so much for accepting our invite to come and celebrate this milestone with us. As you would know, October is a very special month for us because it was on this day in 1995 that this office opened its doors for the first time to serve the people of South Africa under the name Public Protector. This was a turning point, making a clean break with the past shortly after the country attained freedom. As the program moderator has correctly put it, the Public Protector rose from the ashes of an apartheid institution of a similar character established in 1991 called the Office of the Ombudsman. The Office of the Ombudsman succeeded an institution established in the 70s under the name Advocate General. Unlike the Public Protector, both those offices were not independent and fell under the wings of the Department of Justice. We already heard that the establishment of this institution was already among the proposal put forward by the current governing party as far back as 1992. In an address at Suzhou University in Taiwan in 1993, the late former President Nelson Mandela, who was not yet president at the time, announced that South Africa's future governing party had, in addition to substantive provision of a Bill of Rights, proposed further mechanisms to develop and increase confidence in the way rights were to be handled. These mechanisms included an ombud, a defender of citizens with comprehensive power. This same year, that same year, the interim constitution came into force, Chapter 8 of which provided for the establishment of the public protector, whose powers were similar to those of the Office of the Ombudsman of 1991. In the following year, the Democratic Parliament passed the Public Protector Act 23 of 1994, which gave effect to the provisions of Section 110 to 114 under Chapter 8 of the Interim Constitution, leading to the moment we are celebrating today. Meanwhile, work was underway to finalize the constitution that is in force today. For this constitution to come into force, the Constitutional Court had to certify that the full text of the document compiled with a list of constitutional principles set out in Schedule 4 of the interim constitution. So I would then want to indicate that the final constitution then was established under Section 181 as an independent, only subject to the Constitution and the rule of law,